Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'aretz. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim v'bracha. Good davach, Shavua tov. A good week. And what will make a good week? We learn together. L'chaim. Excuse me. Okay. We begin today a new mimer, a new Hasidic discourse. This one was said Shabbos Parshas Emor. Actually, the same setup as this year, 19th of year, 1974. Wow. So, Rabbi Shimon began, the verse says, it says, Amar ani ladoidi, I am my beloved's, va'alai chukasei, and his desire is towards me. That's what King David says. God's desire is towards me. Excuse that I still have my spring allergies. Not a cold. Excuse me. So he says like this in the Zohar. All my days I was connected in this world with one connection with God. And now, this is actually on his deathbed. God has a desire for me. He's taking him. He's taking him. He passed away on the 18th day of Iyar, which is this Friday. Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer. And on that day, he told his students, Chavre Kadisha, his holy group, that he's going to reveal things today that he hasn't revealed before of the divine, and not to mourn his passing, but to celebrate, as he called it, a hilula, not we call a yortzeit, called a hilula, which is a celebratory term. So yeah, so that's what he's saying, that God has a desire for me. Now, I guess, well, you can simply take it, desire for me, and that's he's taking me. I don't think that's what it means, though, or not what he means. Um, So he says, and it continues in what he was saying, all my days, I read this verse in Psalm 34. Hold on. Psalm 34, verse 3. My soul glories in God. Let the humble hear it and rejoice. Hmm. My soul, yeah, rejoices. Okay. So you would say that every day. Now, this verse is fully being complete. I'm completing this verse that my soul is united, connected with this this knot and cleaving. So I was connected with God now at now daily and specifically on the day of his passing. In other words, he was on a much greater level on the day of his passing. Then he became one with God. Okay, that's the quote. Now let's understand what this means. Even though the unity that the Rashbi accomplished only on the day of his passing, since all of his days of his life he was trying to reach this unity, right? He looked at this verse every day, as the verse says, "My soul glories in God," right? So he was making this effort he was reading this verse every day. So it's understood that he achieved some level of it throughout his life, but the completion of it is actually, he says, Vikara Kula, and the entirety of this verse was fulfilled now, his passing. As understood, the Rashbi, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, passed away in the 2nd century. He's one of the 5 students of Rabbi Akiva that didn't die from the 20,000 students from yeah, from the plague. As understood from the teachings of the Rebbe Rashab, that the Rashbi, his study of Torah was in a manner what we call Teiratzon Umnase. His study of Torah was his profession, his whole being, everything. As he had to hide from the Romans, him and his son, and they hid in a cave first for 12 years. And all they did was study day and day and night with no books. No books. Okay. So that's everything of him was continuous. He was a 24/7 individual who studied Torah. And his study was in a manner of, his study is um, drawing down godliness into this world. In a way that there was a very strong divine connection. And this was throughout his life. And this created, a complete union with the divine throughout his life. But it wasn't revealed as it was on the day of his passing. Then the true inner core root of his divine service that he did throughout his life was then revealed in a manner that was a bond that created a union, a deep connection, a deep connection. Okay, so let's understand this idea. There's two ways to connect with God, if you will. The two different terms. One is called dvekus. Dvek means to cleave. To cleave to God. That term is used in Genesis when God says, therefore man will leave his mother and father and he will cleave to his wife and they will be one flesh. Right? There's the word Davik. David bi'ishta v'yolabasei echad. He'll cleave to his wife. So to cleave, of course, is a connection, right? But it's external. Why is it external? Cleaving. Because cleaving is suggesting there's a me and that which I'm cleaving to. So a man to his wife, right? And they will become one flesh. How they become one flesh, as Rashi says, through having a child. In that child, they're one flesh because, they're the part of each of them there. Excuse me. But then there's a term, hiskashrus, a bond, uh, it's a deep connection. It's not external, it's internal. As it says, when Yehuda told, at that time, didn't realize he's speaking to his brother Joseph, Judah speaking to Joseph, right? where Joseph took Benjamin and he was going to keep him because they found the goblet in his bag, right? As he was a thief, as if he was a thief, right? Sorry. As if, right? And what does Judas say? You can't do that to our father Jacob, because nafshay kshura b'nafshay, his soul is bonded, deeply connected with his soul. So dvekus, cleaving, suggesting two things. We use the word cleave, like to stick something onto something, dabek. So it's to connect. But there's two things connecting. Then there's knotted, connected, a bond. It's so strong. That's a deeper idea. Okay. Just got started. We're going to go pray now. And we'll be back for Chumash Rashi. Thank you for joining.